Ryan sat on the edge of the worn-out couch, staring anxiously at the clock on the wall. The tick-tock sound echoed through the empty house, reminding him of his solitude. It was the first time he had ever been left home alone for an entire weekend. His parents had gone on a much-needed vacation, leaving him behind to look after the house. As darkness enveloped the neighborhood, Ryan's nerves began to rise. He tried to distract himself by turning on the TV, but the sound of his own footsteps echoed in the silence, amplifying his unease. The house seemed larger than ever before, its empty rooms feeling like gaping voids waiting to swallow him whole. Ryan's attention was drawn to a sudden creaking sound coming from upstairs. His heart raced as he imagined all sorts of terrifying scenarios. What if there was someone else in the house? His mind conjured up images of masked intruders, lurking in the shadows, ready to pounce on him. Summoning all his courage, Ryan slowly climbed the staircase, each step creaking beneath his weight. He reached the landing and nervously glanced down the dimly lit hallway. The closed bedroom doors seemed to taunt him, promising secrets and horrors within. Taking a deep breath, Ryan pushed open his parents' bedroom door. The room was bathed in darkness, except for a sliver of moonlight that peeked through the gap in the curtains. He cautiously stepped inside and flicked the light switch, but nothing happened. The power was out. Ryan's heart pounded in his chest as he moved towards the closet. He slowly turned the doorknob, half expecting a monster to jump out at him. But all he found were his parents' neatly hung clothes and a few forgotten boxes. Feeling a mix of relief and disappointment, Ryan closed the closet door and decided to check the rest of the rooms. He ventured into his own bedroom next, scanning every corner for any signs of an intruder. The room appeared undisturbed, but a chill ran down his spine as he noticed something odd. His laptop, which he had left closed on the desk before he went downstairs, was now open. Ryan's breath caught in his throat as he approached the desk. On the screen was a single sentence typed in bold letters. "I'm watching you." Fear gripped Ryan's entire being. He felt like a trapped animal, hunted by an unknown predator. His mind raced with questions. Who could have accessed his laptop? How did they get into the house? Was this some sick joke? He closed the laptop and hurriedly made his way downstairs. Ryan's hands trembled as he fumbled for his phone in his pocket. He dialed his best friend, Emma, hoping that she could offer some reassurance or advice. As the phone rang, Ryan's eyes were drawn to the front door. It was slightly ajar. He was certain he had closed and locked it before. Panic surged through his veins, and he slammed the door shut, turning the key with a shaking hand. "Hello?" Emma's voice came through the phone. "Emma, something's wrong. I think someone's in the house," Ryan blurted out, his voice barely above a whisper. Emma's voice was filled with concern. "Ryan, are you sure? Maybe it's just your imagination playing tricks on you." "No, Emma, I'm serious. I found my laptop open, and there was a message on the screen. And now the front door was open. I don't know what to do," Ryan whispered, his fear palpable. "Okay, Ryan, take a deep breath. I'm coming over right now. Just stay on the line with me. We'll figure this out together," Emma reassured him, her voice steady and calming. Ryan clutched his phone tightly, grateful for Emma's support. He followed her advice and stayed on the line as he cautiously moved through the house, checking every room and corner. The silence was oppressive, broken only by the sound of his own rapid breathing. As Ryan reached the kitchen, his heart skipped a beat. The back door was wide open, swaying gently in the night breeze. He could feel the cold air seeping into the house, chilling him to the bone. It was as if the intruder had deliberately left a trail, taunting him with their presence. "Emma, the back door is open too," Ryan whispered, his voice quivering. "Ryan, get out of the house now." Emma's voice rose with urgency. "Go to a neighbor's house and call the police." "I'm on my way." Ryan hesitated for a moment, torn between his fear of leaving the perceived safety of his home and the growing realization that he might not be alone in the house. Finally, he mustered the courage to heed Emma's advice. He quietly slipped out of the kitchen and darted towards the front door. But just as he reached for the doorknob, a chilling voice echoed through the house. "Leaving so soon, Ryan?" Ryan froze, his hand suspended in midair. The voice sent shivers down his spine, its sinister tone confirming his worst fears. He slowly turned around, his eyes scanning the dimly lit hallway. And there, at the end of the corridor, stood a shadowy figure, partially concealed by the darkness. "Who are you? What do you want from me?" Ryan's voice trembled with a mix of fear and defiance. The figure took a step forward, revealing a wicked smile that sent a shiver down Ryan's spine. "I want to play a little game, Ryan. A game of cat and mouse. But remember, I always catch my prey." Ryan's heart pounded in his chest as he realized the danger he was in. With trembling hands, he unlocked the front door and flung it open, desperate to escape. He sprinted out into the night, his eyes darting from house to house, searching for any signs of life. As he ran towards the nearest neighbor's house, Ryan glanced back one last time. The shadowy figure stood in the doorway, watching him with cold, calculating eyes. It sent a chill down his spine, but he knew he had to keep running, keep fighting for his life. Ryan pounded on the neighbor's front door, his breath ragged and his heart racing. A kind-faced elderly couple opened the door, their expressions filled with concern at the sight of the panicked teenager before them. "What happened, young man?" the man asked, his voice filled with empathy. "There's someone in my house. They were watching me," Ryan managed to say between gasps for air. "Please, call the police." The couple quickly ushered Ryan inside and dialed emergency services. Ryan sat on their couch, trembling and praying for help to arrive soon. His mind raced with thoughts of what the intruder might do next. Were his parents safe? What was the motive behind this terrifying game? Within minutes, the sound of sirens grew closer, and the flashing lights illuminated the night. The police arrived, their presence bringing a sense of relief to Ryan's frayed nerves. They took his statement and assured him that they would thoroughly investigate the situation. As the police conducted their search, Ryan's parents were contacted and rushed back home. Fear and worry etched on their faces as they embraced their son, grateful that he was unharmed. Over the next few days, the police meticulously combed through the house, collecting evidence and interviewing neighbors. The intruder, however, seemed to have vanished without a trace, leaving behind a lingering sense of unease. Ryan and his family decided to install a state-of-the-art security system and take extra precautions to ensure their safety. But even with these measures in place, Ryan couldn't shake the feeling of being watched. The haunting memory of that menacing smile burned into his mind. Months passed, and life slowly returned to a semblance of normalcy. Ryan's fear began to fade, replaced by a determination to move forward. He focused on his studies and spent more time with Emma and his other friends, seeking solace and distraction from the traumatic experience. One evening, as Ryan was walking home from school, he noticed a figure standing near a street lamp. It was the same shadowy figure from that fateful night. Panic surged through him, but as he drew closer, he realized that it was just a statue, cast by the street lamp's glow. Ryan took a deep breath, his heartbeat gradually returning to a steady rhythm. The figure was nothing more than a reminder of the past, a symbol of the strength he had gained from facing his fears. He knew he couldn't let the memory of that night hold him back. With newfound resilience, Ryan continued his journey home, the weight of the past slowly lifting from his shoulders. The house that had once felt like a cavern of darkness now held the promise of safety and comfort. And as he stepped through the front door, Ryan made a silent vow to create new memories, leaving the shadows of the past behind. Kelly sat alone in her cozy living room, waiting for her parents to return home. It was a stormy night, and the rain poured heavily against the window panes. The wind howled outside, creating an eerie atmosphere. Despite the storm, Kelly's parents had gone out to attend an emergency family event, leaving her alone for the night. They assured her it would be okay, But as the minutes ticked by, Kelly couldn't shake off the feeling of unease. Distracting herself, Kelly decided to watch a movie. She turned on the TV and settled into the couch, but she couldn't focus on the film. The sound of the rain seemed to amplify the silence in the house, making her more anxious. Just as she was about to change her mind and call a neighbor for company, the doorbell rang. Startled, Kelly paused the movie and cautiously approached the front door. Through the peephole, she saw a tall man in a dark coat, his face obscured by a wide-brimmed hat. Her heart raced, and she hesitated to open the door. The man kept ringing the bell insistently, making her fear grow. Afraid of what might happen if she didn't answer, Kelly finally mustered the courage to open the door, but to her surprise, there was no one there. The rain lashed against her face as she scanned the empty street, searching for any signs of the mysterious visitor. Convinced it was just her imagination playing tricks, she closed the door and returned to the living room. As Kelly resumed her movie, she couldn't shake off the feeling of being watched. Every creak of the house, every gust of wind, made her jump. She convinced herself that it was all in her head and tried to focus on the film, but deep down, a gnawing fear remained. Just then, the power went out, plunging the house into darkness. Kelly's heart skipped a beat as she fumbled for her phone, using its flashlight to navigate through the pitch-black room. The storm outside intensified, and thunder roared, adding to her fear. She longed for her parents' return, praying they would be home soon. As she made her way to the kitchen to find some candles, a strange noise echoed from upstairs. It sounded like a door opening and closing. Goosebumps formed on Kelly's arms as she stood frozen in the hallway. She debated whether to investigate or hide, but her instincts pushed her forward. She climbed the stairs, her footsteps muted by the storm outside. With each step, her unease grew, and her mind raced with terrifying possibilities. She reached the top of the stairs and hesitated outside her bedroom door, trying to steady her trembling hand. Taking a deep breath, she slowly pushed the door open. To her horror, Kelly discovered that her room was in complete disarray. Drawers were pulled out, clothes scattered across the floor, and her cherished toys strewn about. It was as if a tornado had swept through her room. Panic surged through her veins as she realized that something terrible had happened. Kelly's mind raced, trying to make sense of the chaos that lay before her. She rushed to her parents' room, hoping for some clue or sign of what had transpired. But as she pushed open their door, she found their room in a similar state of disarray. The once tidy and comforting space was now a scene of disorder and fear. Fear and desperation consumed Kelly as she realized that her parents were not here, and something sinister had occurred in her absence. Thoughts of the mysterious man at the door resurfaced, and she couldn't help but wonder if there was a connection. Her heart pounded in her chest, urging her to act. With trembling hands, Kelly dialed the emergency number, her voice quivering as she reported her parents' disappearance and the strange events that had unfolded. The dispatcher assured her that help was on the way, but in the depths of her soul, Kelly knew that time was of the essence. As she waited for the authorities to arrive, Kelly's mind raced through memories, trying to recall any details that might help unravel the mystery. She thought about the people her parents had been associating with, any recent conflicts or unusual occurrences, but nothing concrete came to mind. The fear and uncertainty weighed heavily upon her. The sound of sirens finally broke through the storm's symphony, bringing a glimmer of hope to Kelly's heart. She rushed downstairs to meet the police officers, relief washing over her as she saw their familiar uniforms. She shared everything she could remember, emphasizing the strange visitor and the disarray in her room. The officers scoured the house for any evidence, meticulously collecting fingerprints and inspecting every inch of the crime scene. They assured Kelly that they would do everything in their power to find her parents and bring them home safely. However, as the hours turned into days, with no leads or significant breakthroughs, Kelly's hope began to dwindle. The ordeal was far from over, though. The investigation that had begun with her parents' disappearance now expanded to include the entire criminal network they had unwittingly uncovered. The evidence Kelly had gathered, along with the testimonies of others she had contacted, became critical in dismantling the organization piece by piece. Months passed as the truth gradually came to light. Corrupt politicians, influential businessmen, and dangerous criminals were exposed, their web of deceit and criminal activities unraveled. The fight for justice became Kelly's mission, her resilience and determination inspiring others to come forward and share their own stories of suffering at the hands of the organization. Eventually, Kelly's parents were found, bound, and hidden in a remote location. Although they were physically weakened, the fire in their eyes remained unextinguished. Reunited with their daughter, they embraced her tightly, grateful for her unwavering determination and refusal to give up on them. The story of Kelly's ordeal spread far and wide, capturing the attention of media outlets and inspiring countless individuals. She became a symbol of resilience and the fight against corruption. Awards and accolades followed, but for Kelly, the true victory lay in knowing that her efforts had brought justice to those who had wronged her family. With the organization dismantled and its key members behind bars, Kelly and her parents focused on rebuilding their lives. The scars of their past remained, but they were determined to move forward together, cherishing every moment they had as a family. Years later, Kelly became an advocate for victims of crime, using her own experience to bring awareness and support to those who had suffered in silence. Her bravery and unwavering spirit became an inspiration to others, proving that even in the face of unimaginable darkness, there is always hope for a brighter future. And so, the story of Kelly, the courageous girl who refused to be silenced, became a legend, a testament to the power of determination, love, and the unwavering spirit of those who dare to fight against injustice.